How's it going, everyone, and welcome to the number one Raiders podcast in the world. My name is Stephen Michaels. This is the Raiders Daily. Okay, we had a little hiatus there, but we are back, and we are going to recap that Buffalo Bills game very, very quickly. Then we're going to talk about the big game, obviously. The Kansas City Chiefs, the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders go into Arrowhead. We will talk about that. But first, let's just recap real quickly. I like doing the show this way, by the way, especially with the Raiders when they lose. So we don't spend too much time talking about the loss, and we can get hyped up about the game coming up. The problem is we can't not keep losing like this. Because if the Raiders keep losing like this, it's going to be loss after loss after loss. And as you know, you cannot stack up losses in the NFL because before you know it, you're only a 4-win team. The Raiders are currently on a 2-game losing streak. That is not good. The schedule, as you know, is going to get tougher. They got 2 tough teams ahead of them. But let's talk about this Buffalo game for a little bit. First of all, this is a game where the Raiders had the Buffalo Bills number. The Raiders could have won this game. Now, a lot of people want to point to the defense. I'm very well aware of it. I see you guys all on Twitter. You don't want to blame the $120 million quarterback, but you want to blame the defense. Was the defense terrible? Absolutely. That defense was awful. I watched the coach's film. That's one of the reasons why I waited to do a show, by the way, because the coach's film comes out on Tuesday. I get time to really analyze all that and analyze the Chiefs and all that stuff like that. But anyways, this game on defense, the Raiders were a mess. They were not in position. I don't know what they were doing. They did nothing. They didn't create any turnovers. They did nothing. They did nothing at all. So it was, this is a team that can't get a pass rush right now. So you gotta do something. You gotta do something here. So, like I said, they gotta get some turnovers. Because if you don't, you're gonna lose these games because you're not getting any pass rush. That defense is a major problem. And you got injuries. You got Damon Arnett who's injured, but the guy's a rookie. The guys that are filling in for him, they got to do a better job. Amik Robertson, he didn't look very well. He didn't look good. He wasn't out there that long, but still, he didn't look good. There's a reason why the guy has been a healthy scratch, in my opinion. So, these guys got to play better. They really, really do. Everyone does. The defensive line has to play better. Now, I will say this week, at least, against the Buffalo Bills, the Raiders' defense did do a better job against the run. That is one thing we will give them credit for. They did do a better job. So, when you look at it, Devin Singletary only had 18 carries for 56 yards. But at the same time, Josh Allen threw for 288 yards, and he was averaging 8.5 yards every time he threw the football. So, it's not that hard to understand, they didn't really need to run the ball 18 times for 56 yards and only averaged 3.1 yards a carry. The Raiders, on the other hand, on their offensive side of the ball, Josh Jacobs, he ran the ball 15 times, and he only averaged 3.2 yards a carry. And he only had 48 yards rushing in this game. And yes, he has injuries. There's no doubt about it. What I did like in this game is I like how they activated Theo Riddick. I want to see more of Theo Riddick. I hope he gets activated against the Chiefs. Now, and what I did not like about this game is obviously the defense. They looked like they were completely just not... They're not in sync. They're not even in the right gaps, for crying out loud. They have no idea what they're doing. Their secondary is a mess. They're running around. They're all confused. And I don't know why. You got Kwiatkowski finally back. Corey Littleton has been a disaster so far. And he was supposed to be a big pickup. This team has to get better on defense. They got to. But like I said, if they can't get pass rush, then they need to get turnovers. but they were bad. But the thing about this game was, even though they played so bad on defense, they still stood a chance to win this football game. They still had the opportunity. But the reason why they did not win this football game is, I guess, a controversial reason that no one wants to say. I don't know why, I don't know why people don't want to say it. The reason why they lost this football game is because the Raiders' offense settled for field goals instead of touchdowns. They left points off the scoreboard, and you will lose every game like that. For example, in the first quarter, Daniel Carlson had to trot out there and kick a field goal. I don't know why, because the alligator was wide open on a slant pass, and Derek Carr checked it down to a running back, I think it was Jalen Richard, and got nowhere. Meanwhile, this guy's wide open on a slant. I posted it on Twitter. You can go look at it. Wide open. He would have picked up the first down easily. Maybe even got a touchdown. Who knows? But still would have got a first down. They would have got closer to the red zone. Probably, maybe have punched it in. They left too many points on the field. There was a lot of plays in this game. Even plays that, by the way, that Derek Carr completed on, that maybe even got first downs. There were other options that he could have went to throughout this game that guys were wide open. Look at the touchdown of Jason Witten. Go back and look at it. Derek Carr is supposed to throw that ball right away. Jason Witten's jumping up in the air, waving his arms. Derek Carr doesn't see him at first. Instead, he waits. That could have turned into a disaster. Meanwhile, the guy was open for at least 2 seconds. Or maybe a second and a half. You got to throw that ball right away. Derek Carr is not going through his reads and his progressions correctly. He's got to scope the field. Because there are guys open. You can't just check it down to the running back every time, or, check it down to a short little pass every time. You got to hit these guys on these slant routes. That's what I noticed that he's been missing. And it's weird because he wasn't doing that when he had Jared Cook. Those slant routes were huge, remember? So for some reason, he's not doing that. I don't know why. But I don't know. That gets people upset. People will say, it's not Derek Carr's fault. Well, yes, it is his fault. When you're settling for field goals instead of touchdowns, it's your fault. When you're getting paid $120 million to be the franchise quarterback and you've never won a playoff game, it's your fault. And that's what happened here. Yes, their defense was bad. There is no debate about that. But if the Raiders would have scored points, put touchdowns instead of field goals in this game, the Raiders win. The Raiders win big. They should have beaten the Buffalo Bills. If Derek Carr made the right reads, the right adjustments. And yes, that Foster Moreau penalty was BS, because if you go back and watch the film, 2 plays before that, they ran the same package. But it was a run. It was a short pass. That should have never been a flag. So I'll give you that. I will give you that. But there was a lot of quarterbacks open on the field. So I don't want to hear about, his stats and all that nonsense. Because, listen. He threw for 311 yards, okay? But he also fumbled again in this game. Which was come on. He fumbled against the Bills. Again, fumbling when the pocket collapsed. And that was a problem the week prior, if you remember. Good quarterbacks feel pressure. This guy's got to start improvising, just like the next quarterback they face does all the time. And then the next quarterback is not a product of the system. He's the opposite of the product of the system. Because if he was a product of a system, if he just listened to Andy Reid, he would not be any good. This guy takes Andy Reid's plays and just extends them and just has guys running that are very fast and finds guys that are open. And I'm talking about Patrick Mahomes. Now, Derek Carr, he has weapons. He can use those. And by the way, things are going to be good for the Raiders against the Chiefs, because you will get Trent Brown back. You will get Henry Ruggs back. That is 2 huge additions. Huge additions to get back in this game. The Patriots loss was devastating. I don't think the Raiders should have lost that game. This Bills game, I don't think the Raiders should have lost that game. Now they're going to Arrowhead, where Derek Carr has never won in his career. Let's remember that. This guy's been the quarterback since, 2014 maybe? I think I'm right. I think I'm right about that. 2014, he's been the quarterback. He has never won in Arrowhead. And they play them twice a year. They play in Arrowhead once a year. This is a game, in my opinion, where, yes, obviously the Raiders are a 14-point underdog. No one has given them a chance. But this is a game, in my opinion, if the Raiders can go into Arrowhead, remember, not all the fans are there in Arrowhead. I forgot how many people they let in. What is it, 20,000? But it's not as loud as usual. There are a bunch of weirdos. If you remember, they booed the opening game for some weird reason. There are a bunch of weirdos there. But if they can go into Arrowhead and Derek Carr can get the monkey off his back and beat the Chiefs, these last 2 losses, they may have been devastating. But if Derek Carr could finally do it, it could turn around the Las Vegas Raiders season big time. It would give Derek Carr the confidence, I believe, that he would be lights out the rest of the year. And they will score touchdowns the rest of the year instead of settling for field goals. But it all comes down to, can Derek Carr do it? He has not shown that he can do it. So it's pretty hard for me to come on this podcast, this broadcast right now, and tell you, yes, Derek Carr is going to beat the Chiefs. Because he's never done it. So it's almost impossible for me to say. Now, the thing is about the Chiefs is they're different this season. One of the reasons why they're different is because they have a awesome running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. This guy is on fire. He is on fire right now. The Raiders defense, as we mentioned, has been struggling. They did a good job against Singletary last week. They're going to have to put all hands on deck this week because this guy, first of all, he's better than Josh Jacobs right now. Josh Jacobs has 83 carries for 300 yards on the season. You know what Clyde Edwards-Helaire has? 71 carries, 304 yards, averaging 4.3 yards a carry. Josh Jacobs, 3.6. You know? And let me tell you something. This guy is also involved in the passing game, which I would like to see Josh Jacobs more involved in. But still, this guy's also involved in the passing game with 14 catches on the year, 129 yards, averaging 9.2 yards a catch. So this guy is a big-time target. His yards after a catch, 120. I mean, this guy is just, he's another weapon for Mahomes. Mahomes has a lot of weapons. He has Travis Kelce. That's going to be a matchup nightmare. Tyreek Hill's always a matchup nightmare. Sammy Watkins. I mean, now you throw this guy in. Not to mention they do have Hardman. I mean, they got DeMarcus Robinson still. They have a lot of weapons over there. But guess what? The Raiders have a lot of weapons too on offense. They really do. They have Darren Waller. They have Hunter Renfrow. They have Josh Jacobs. They have Zay Jones, who needs to do more, but they have him. They have the Alligator. They have Jalen Richard. They have Jason Witten. They have Henry Ruggs Jr. They have Foster Monroe. And they have Devontae Booker, who I think should be involved way more in the play calling. I really do. Because he's done some good things. He hasn't got the ball a lot, in the passing game, but he has done some good things. Now, how do the Raiders defeat the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead? I'm going to tell you how they defeat them. This is the blueprint right now how to defeat this team. This team, by the way, the Chiefs, it just came off a big win against New England. Now, they did play backup quarterback, but they held the Patriots at 10 points. They pretty much, they controlled the game. But listen, this is how you beat the Chiefs. I'm going to tell you right now. You run the football. That's why you need all the running backs you can get. You need Josh Jacobs, who is banged up. That's why I think you should activate Theo Riddick for this game. So you can use Jalen Richard. So you can use Devontae Booker and Theo Riddick. Because there's one thing about the Chiefs. They have been pretty good on defense this season. They've been pretty good. Their pass defense, let me tell you something. Top 3. They're ranked 3rd in the NFL. Points per game, 17.5. That's how much they're averaging. I mean, that's 2nd in the NFL, guys. But there's one area where this remains consistent year after year, where the Chiefs' defense struggles and where teams need to take advantage of this. And that is the Chiefs' defense against the run. They are ranked 28th in the NFL on stopping the run. The Raiders need to pound the rock. They need to control the tempo of this game, control the clock, slow it down. You cannot have a shootout against the Chiefs. You cannot be behind 14-0 against the Chiefs. The Raiders don't have the defense for that. They just don't. So if the Raiders can score touchdowns instead of scoring field goals, they stand a slight chance of winning this football game. And like I said, if they could do that, if they could pull off the big upset of the week, this will change the course of the season. And you know Derek Carr wants to win this. He's never won there. He's going to be asked about it all week. I'm recording this on a Tuesday. I don't know if he's already been asked about it, but I guarantee you he will be. The guy's never won there. Okay? He's never won there. And next year is his last year under contract with the Raiders. I think this game is going to have a lot to do with what the Raiders do with Derek Carr going forward. I really do. Because there's no way Derek Carr and John Gruden, they have film study every week, those two. There's no way John Gruden didn't point out these wide open wide receivers. I counted 7. Even ones, like I said, that went for first downs that were fine, but they could have had bigger plays instead of, the 7-yard pickup. But, I'm not going to complain anytime the Raiders move the chains, but I'm just saying, you got to scope the field better. You got to feel the pressure more. And now, luckily, like I said, Trent Brown, I believe, will be playing this Sunday against the Chiefs. That's huge. I also believe, from what I've been told anyways, that Henry Ruggs will be playing. That is huge. So this is going to be big for the Raiders. Can Henry Ruggs take the top off? Then Darren Waller and the alligator can go underneath and catch those, short passes, get yards after the catch. Darren Waller, by the way, hold on to the football because that fumble was huge against the Bills. Hold on. The Raiders cannot make no mistakes against the Chiefs. They cannot shoot themselves in the foot. They did too much of that. They cannot do that. They can't afford to do that. They don't have the defense to do that. They just don't. You can't shoot themselves in the foot. They can't do that. They don't have the defense to do that. Like I said, if the Raiders are down a lot in this game, they just don't have it. The defense will not be able to stage a comeback. But what we do need out of this defense, if they can't get any pass rush, which seems like they can't, they need to come up with a big play. That's why I want to see one of these young guys, Trayvon Mullen, even a Keyshawn Nixon, someone come up with a big interception. Someone force a fumble. Do something on that defense that changes the momentum of the football game. That gives the offense more time on the field. And if the Raiders can run the ball, if they can get a running game against this Chiefs defense, if they can get one going, the Raiders are going to stand a chance. Control the tempo of the game. Control the clock. Let Patrick Mahomes sit on that bench watching the time go by. Because the Raiders, if they can keep picking up first downs, and on third down, if it's not 3rd and 12, instead of it's 3rd and 3, it's going to help them. And like I said, when Derek Carr needs to make that big throw, if Josh Jacobs is running the football well, if he's pounding the rock and the Chiefs' defense is having a hard time stopping them, they will eventually stack that box, and that will open up the play action for a guy like the alligator or Henry Ruggs, and Carr can take a deep shot. And if he hits them, they will go for touchdowns. I promise you. So if Josh Jacobs can get that running game going, the Chiefs will start stacking the box, and that will open up the play action. And like I said, you can throw it deep, or if you're Derek Carr, you can use your legs and take off for a first down. Now, he did do that twice, I believe, last week. I like that. I would like to see him do it more. You guys know that drives me nuts he does not do it more because he's athletic enough to do it more. That's the only reason why it drives me nuts. It's because Derek Carr is not like a quarterback who can't run at all. He can run. He just doesn't do it enough. So I would like to see him do it more. But I would also like to see him make better reads on the field. Get the ball around. Make sure you're looking at everyone. Don't just stare down the check down. Look down the field. Look to the flat. Look for your slant routes, which is a lot of West Coast offense. Because I'm telling you, if you go back and watch that game against the Bills, The Alligator had the safety and a cornerback beat a lot on those slant passes, but Carr just never sees them. He just never sees them. Even, like I said, the Jason Witten touchdown. The guy's waving his hands in the air like a maniac. Carr should have thrown it right away. Instead, that was, as you could tell, that wasn't his first option. He waited all the way to the end. Luckily, Witten was still open. So Carr's got to be more accurate. But I think he will be, though, because I think he's going to be really, really focused on winning this game. He knows this means a lot for the organization. He knows that the ownership and the coaches and the fans, they're sick and tired of their franchise quarterback not being able to put away their division rival and now reigning Super Bowl champions in their own place. I mean, you know what changed? Back when the Raiders were, had a couple of good years there, they didn't win a Super Bowl back in the early 2000s, the late 90s. When Rich Gannon came there. You got to remember, Rich Gannon was a backup quarterback. The Raiders picked him up. He got benched, I think, for Elvis Grbac or someone why he played for Kansas City. He came to the Raiders and, got in Gruden's system. He became NFL MVP. He used his legs at 40 years old, or whatever the hell he was. I mean, this guy, he was putting the ball around everywhere. They also had a good running game. They had Charlie Gardner. And you know what they did? Even though they only went 8-8, they went into Arrowhead and they beat the Chiefs. And that set the tone. That was late in the year. They took the Chiefs out of the playoffs. The next year, that set the tone. Because then they started to be very good. And they just started beating the Chiefs. But, since Derek Carr's been there, Chiefs have owned the Raiders and Arrowhead. That has to change. And I'm telling you, if the Raiders can pull off this miracle here, this will change the entire season for the Raiders. This will give them the momentum to start stacking up W's instead of stacking up losses. You lost 2 in a row. You cannot afford to lose 3 in a row. And remember, I believe Tampa is next. So that would be what? 4? That's not a guaranteed win. I mean, you can't lose 4 in a row, guys. Or we're looking at a 7-win team here. So the Raiders, they could change their entire season if they go into Arrowhead and win. And I'm telling you, they can do it if they execute. If they don't shoot themselves in the foot with bad penalties. If Derek Carr is accurate. And if the run game can get going. That's going to be the biggest key here. And if they don't fall behind early. Because they don't have the defense. Their defense sucks. We all acknowledge that. They don't have a pass rush, which drives me nuts. Paul Gunther, I never liked him. I think his scheme sucks. I really do. And I think this year is even worse because there's a lot of young guys. They didn't have a lot of off-season prep for this complicated defense. So that's why Paul Gunther moved upstairs to, take a look at things, see if he can notice any differences. There was no differences. The guys are still not in the right gaps. They're not even in the right position. And they have guys, I'm sorry, I'm not even going to mention names on a public show, but they have guys starting who shouldn't be starting in the NFL. They should be rotational players in the back end and the secondary. It's just the way it is. So, but they can overcome this because on paper, the Raiders have a very good offense. Derek Carr is not like, a terrible quarterback. Like I said, he's a good athlete. He just got to make the correct, accurate reads, and if he does that, they will have success. And if Josh Jacobs can get going, I know he's injured, the Raiders can have success. And if he can't get going, then that's when you want to mix Booker, Richard, and if they activate Theo Riddick in there. You want to do some jet sweeps in this game with Henry Ruggs and Zay Jones. You got to do things like that because the Chiefs are not good when someone is running the football. But they are good against the pass. And Derek Carr's got to be careful, But with Trent Brown back, hopefully Derek Carr, if he does get sacked, by the way, don't fumble. That's been driving me crazy. But hold on to the football, protect the football. It's okay to throw it away as long as it's not third down. When it's third down, you don't throw it away. If the pocket collapses, try to roll out of that pocket and run. Even if you don't pick up the first down, try to, at least. That's the least you can do. Because we all have seen plays where the Raiders are in the red zone where Derek Carr could easily just tuck it in and run it in for a touchdown. Instead, he's looking for a throw. And I don't know why he does that. I still don't know why. But it's something I wish he would change, but unfortunately I don't think they'll ever change. But he's not like, the worst quarterback in the NFL. I think if he could just read the field correctly, he could be a very good quarterback in this scheme. Remember, look at the quarterbacks who had success in this scheme. I told you, Rich Gannon got benched for Elvis Grbac. He turned into an NFL MVP. Brad Johnson has a Super Bowl ring. Brad Johnson. I know they had a great defense in Tampa, but they had to score points too to win football games, and they did. They scored enough points to win. So that's what we need out of Derek Carr. And what did they do in Tampa? What did Gruden do in Tampa? The same thing he did this season. He filled Brad Johnson with a bunch of weapons. The guys with speed, guys with reliable hands, things like that. That's what Derek Carr has right now. I know Brian Edwards is gone, but come on. Yes, it would have been great for this guy to, be healthy and everything like that and see how good he can be, because I think this guy can be really good. But he's still just a rookie. You know what I mean? So, come on. You got Nelson Aguilar, I really think, can be like a Michael Crabtree for 1 or 2 years for the Raiders. I really do. I think he could be reliable. You got Darren Waller, who did have a fumble last week, but, that's uncharacteristic. He should be fine. I would like to see him get going a lot more, by the way. And, by the way, don't lose sight of Foster Monroe. I know Jason Witten's been out there a lot, but Foster Monroe got better at route running. So did Alec Ingold. The Patriots used their fullback as an advantage against the Raiders. Why can't the Raiders do that against other teams? They won't see it coming, and Alec Ingold got a lot better in his route running. I'm telling you right now, this guy could be a big component to that offense and get him involved. But if you can run the football against the Chiefs, and I'm not here to guarantee no victory against the Chiefs. The Raiders are a 14-point underdog for a reason. No one in the world believes they can win. But I think they stand a chance if they can dictate the time of possession and keep Patrick Mahomes on that bench. If the Raiders are running the ball and they are scoring touchdowns and not kicking field goals like last week, the Raiders will stand a chance even with that terrible defense. And with that terrible defense, if they can come up with one or maybe 2 big turnovers, which they've been lacking, that could change the course of the game. And if Derek Carr, more importantly, can win this game and get the monkey off his back, I think the momentum could carry this team into an actual playoff team. But there's a lot of riding on this game, guys. I know it's hard to say because the Chiefs are undefeated. A lot of people don't think the Raiders stand a chance. They're going to get blown out, and that very well that could happen. I'm not going to lie to you. If the Raiders are down 14 points in the first quarter and it's only 10 minutes left, yeah, the Raiders are going to get blown out. But if the Raiders can control that clock, pick up first downs by running the football, Derek Carr throws accurate short passes, uses that play action, maybe every once in a while the Chiefs stack that box and you get Henry Ruggs wide open. You get the alligator like they did last week and they got that bogus penalty flag wide open and they get a touchdown like that. That's how you move the ball against this team. Chiefs have been great against the pass. That's why you need a running game this week. You need to pound the rock, and let's hope the Raiders can do just that and erase this 2-game losing streak. We cannot stack up these losses. Let's get a win that would be so meaningful to this franchise, to this fan base. To go into Arrowhead with a guy who has never won and finally win would give this guy confidence that I think he could go on and be very good this season. But it all remains to be seen. Can Derek Carr do it? Can he finally get the monkey off his back? Can he walk into Arrowhead and leave a winner? Can he beat the reigning, defending Super Bowl champions? Can this Raiders team do it? We will find out. It's going to be an early game again for the Raiders. It's going to be tough. There is no easiness right now in the schedule for the Raiders. So the Raiders need this game. I think it could turn around their season. We will see if it happens. Let's go, guys. I will talk to you next week. My name is Stephen Michaels. This is the Raiders Daily Podcast.